The 3 Series is arguably BMW's most iconic model, so the brand doesn't take new generations lightly. The almost all-new 7th Gen model takes a back-to-the-drawing-board approach to styling, adding in some of BMW's newest cues. But at its core, the driving experience aims to maintain BMW's approach to driving pleasure, all while adding in some new advanced tech. To start with, BMW will offer 2 versions of the 3 Series. At the top of the range, the petrol-powered 330i, and this car, the entry-level 320d, priced from $67,900 before options and on-road costs. Expect the range to grow over time, however. Under the bonnet, the 320d runs a 2-litre, 4-cylinder turbo diesel engine, producing 140 kilowatts and 400 newton metres. According to BMW, it can use as little as 4.5 litres of diesel per 100 kilometres, or sprint to 100 k's an hour in a swift 6.8 seconds. An 8-speed automatic is standard, and like all 3 Series models before it, the 320d features rear-wheel drive. It's not under the bonnet, but from outside that the 320d makes its biggest impression. The new generation 3 Series, like everyone before it, has grown in size, and this time it's as large as a 1990s era 5 Series. That means it's not only more imposing from outside, but there's way more interior space too. BMW has also ditched a number of distinctive styling elements, like its step taillights. They always used to be taller on the outside, but now they've been replaced with new slimline units that are chock full of LEDs, but have a less distinctive signature. Although BMW calls this a Hofmeister kink, it isn't. Gone is the gentle radius curve that flows from the top of the C-pillar into the belt line, and instead this new hexagonal element spills out of the door and into the C-pillar for a slightly elongated look. The headlights and grille, they're remixes of the old Halo DRLs and formerly 2-piece kidney grille. Expect to see more of this too. It's already on the new X5 and soon to arrive on the 8 Series and X7. Oh, and these? They're real. No dinky fake exhaust outlets here. And even the 320d comes with a pair of them. Swing open the boot, or opt for power opening like this car, and there's 480 litres of luggage space. Despite the bigger dimensions of the new 3 Series, that's the same as before, but if you need to pack more in, these levers allow you to drop the rear seat backs. Hop in the back and the payoff for the 320d's new, larger dimensions becomes immediately obvious. Where the old 3 Series was a little bit tight in the back, the new generation car is far more generous. It's only a touch wider than before, but every little bit helps. And importantly, there's lots more leg room, which means on a long trip, you can sit back and relax. Unless you're the one doing the driving. If you are the helms person though, you're hardly getting short-changed. Electrically adjustable sports seats are standard, and there's a huge range of adjustment. Plus, if you like to bring carry-on, there's a place for just about everything. It's what's ahead of the driver that will no doubt impress the most. BMW has swapped out a set of traditional dials for its newest digital instrument display, which puts everything on a high-res 12.3-inch screen. The layout isn't without its issues. Despite all that screen real estate, you get a fairly complex overlay of info, depending on what you choose to display. And, for some unknown reason, BMW runs the tachometer in reverse. To the left, BMW's iDrive system moves to OS 7.0, with cleaner layouts for the 10.25-inch display and enhanced connectivity. You can make inputs via the touchscreen or the dial in the centre console, which forms part of the control block for everything from drive modes to gear selection to starting the engine. You can also simply ask for what you'd like with Hey BMW commands. That means you can say things like, Hey BMW, set the temperature to 22 degrees.
I set the temperature in the driver's area on 22 degrees Celsius.
Or, Hey BMW, take me to the Sydney Opera House car park.
All right. Our next destination is Sydney Opera House car park.
The system doesn't do everything though. For instance, you can't say, Hey BMW, open the driver's window.
The function to free the rear window of ice or condensation cannot be voice controlled.
Which is a bit disappointing when you can ask one of these to do just about everything for you. There's autonomous emergency braking, lane departure warning, and a driver's head-up display, although distance-keeping cruise control and lane centering are on the options list. You can even press a button to remember the last few metres of your drive into a car park or garage, and the 320d will semi-autonomously reverse you out. As the price leader of the range, don't expect the 320d to deliver jackrabbit acceleration. However, there are some pleasant surprises. With 400 Newton meters underfoot, rolling acceleration is fairly brisk. And for open road touring, the 320d is quiet and relaxed. Around town though, there's a little bit of old-fashioned diesel clatter. And until it builds a head of steam, the engine can feel surgy in stop-start commuter traffic. Like the engine, the 8-speed automatic carries over from the previous generation 3 Series. While it may not be box fresh, the combo works well. Quick enough to deliver on-demand kickdowns, but smooth and subtle for cruising around. Adaptive dampers are optional and fitted to this car. That means you can select comfort mode to iron out all the lumps and bumps underneath, or flick it into sport mode for a more racy feel. A bit of the old 3 Series verve is back too, with steering that's quick and connected, and a chassis that invites you to extract the most out of your drive instead of just riding along like a commuter. While the 320d might work best on the basis of its frugal fuel consumption, it's clear that BMW has worked hard to instill that fun-to-drive 3 Series essence. As impressive as that may be though, knowing there's a more powerful 330i with the optional leather trim, keyless entry and adaptive suspension of this car all included as standard makes the 320d an incredibly hard sell. It may be a good thing in isolation, but be sure to check out what else BMW has on offer if you plan to park a 3 Series in your driveway.